Minister Gravel.
Thank you very much, Mr. Speaker, and I would ask for agreement that our remarks could be delivered on our behalf by the member for Kingston and the Islands.
Member for Kingston and the Islands.
Mr. Speaker, as the member for Kingston and the Islands, it is a particular honour to join my colleagues from all sides in considering the life and legacy of Sir John A. Macdonald. Thank you to all three House leaders for unanimously agreeing to this important debate, and thank you to Arthur Milnes for suggesting the idea. With the bicentennial of Sir John A. Macdonald's birth only a few weeks away on January the 11th, it is fitting that we pause today to reflect on his considerable contributions to our province and our country. In Kingston, Sir John A. was a skilled community builder, but that is not where the story starts. Sir John A. called Kingston his home from the age of 5, having emigrated from Scotland. Leaving school at age 15, as he did, was common to all but the very wealthy in those days. After serving as an apprentice lawyer for some years, Macdonald was called to the bar in 1836 and continued to practice in Kingston, seeking to establish his name through taking high-profile cases and through his involvement with numerous local organizations. In 1843, he celebrated his first election victory when he ran as an alderman in Kingston's 4th Ward. Hot on the heels of that, he was elected to the legislature as a Conservative candidate in 1844. It is alleged that he was not fond of oratory, I can relate, and relied heavily on supplying voters with large quantities of alcohol to gain popularity. It's true, it's in Wikipedia. But it was not until 1854, with the fall of the Grits, that Macdonald's talent for consensus building came to the fore. In that year, he was largely responsible for putting together the first coalition government known as the Liberal Conservatives, where he served as Attorney General. Now, to fast forward to 1867 and Confederation. In Sir John A.'s early career, the seat of government of the newly merged province of Canada had moved from Kingston to Montreal, to Quebec City, to Ottawa, and in the space of just 17 years. Macdonald had already been Premier for some time and had witnessed or presided over a time of great Canadian prosperity and a time when Canadians had started to become one community connected by the telegraph and great railroads. In 1867, as one of the prime architects of Confederation, his incredible talent for consensus building was recognized in his knighthood and appointment as Canada's first Prime Minister on July 1st of that year. In the following years, he was to serve in 6 majority governments. No leader in Canadian history won more. He was our Prime Minister for 19 years, a feat only bettered by Mackenzie King. Sir John A.'s immense talents are not easy to sum up in a few short sentences, but I will attempt it now. Firstly, he was passionate about his work, strong-willed and ambitious, but shrewd enough to know when to wait and be patient, something we don't always do today, I might add. He was pragmatic and exceedingly adaptable. His enemies called that shifty. And he possessed the rare quality of being able to gain the trust of highly antagonistic factions. He used that trust to promote the rewards of serving the greater good of the nation. Underreported is Sir John A.'s compassionate side, perhaps born of witnessing the tragic murder of his younger brother by a drunken babysitter when Macdonald was just 7 years old. Indeed, much of his personal life was laced with challenges or tragedy: the death of his first son, the lingering illness of his first wife, and the estrangement of his remaining son after her passing. Finally, nothing reveals his loving nature more than his relationship with Mary, his daughter. Her deformity and debilitating mental and physical disease were extremely challenging, yet he doted on her. As you know, Mr. Speaker, there are no heroes, Macdonald included, in the story of Canada's treatment of Aboriginal peoples. While it is always a mistake to measure historical figures by the standards of the present day, Sir John A.'s legacy with regards to Indian affairs remains complex and contradictory. In fact, measured against the pronouncements of his contemporaries in governments of the day, Macdonald might be considered a moderate in many ways. His granting of the vote to qualified male Indians in 1885 lies in stark contrast to his crushing of the Métis rebellions and the subsequent hanging of Louis Riel in the same year. As Prime Minister, Sir John A. was resistant to the continual calls from colleagues and the opposition to reduce the government's interpretation and implementation of its treaty responsibilities. Rather than shy away from the darker chapters in our history, my community is seizing the opportunity to encourage scholarship and discussion with our Anishinaabe and Haudenosaunee friends, whose land we share. At Queen's, for example, following in the footsteps of 2 full academic conferences, the Aboriginal Four Directions Centre just presented an impressive symposium where these issues were discussed freely. Sir John A.'s impact in Kingston can still be seen and felt. He played a key role in founding of Queen's University, particularly her world-renowned medical school. As a young alderman, he helped pave the way for the construction of our majestic City Hall, which still serves that purpose today. Sir John A. would lie in state in that very building after his death on June 6, 1891. Both the proclamation of Upper Canada in 1792 and Macdonald's proclamation of Confederation in 1867 were made in Kingston's Public Market Square. Yes, Canada was born in Kingston. In short, Sir John A. Macdonald is synonymous with Kingston, and this is why, Mr. Speaker, the municipality, Queen's University, St. Lawrence College, the Royal Military College, the Historical Society, Tourism Kingston, both local school boards, theatre groups, and others have been planning Macdonald's bicentennial for years. Make no mistake, this will be a far-reaching and magnificent commemoration of our city's greatest son. Here are some highlights. Dr. Terry Lynn Brennan, with both local school boards, has implemented a curriculum unit on Sir John A.'s life. A study of Sir John A. and Britain's Benjamin by Disraeli at Queen's will be edited and translated by the project's brilliant director, Dr. Michael Ferrand. Canada Transformed, a collection of Sir John A.'s major speeches, has just been published by our one and only Arthur Milnes, a Sir John A. authority, and Dr. Sarah Gibson. A debate between former Premier of this House, Bob Rae, and Federal Minister of Citizenship and Immigration, Chris Alexander, moderated by a friend to all members of this House, our very own Steve Paikin of TVO. There will be free fireworks before OHL Kingston's Frontenac, a Play Macdonald bicentennial-themed home game. The Kingston Historical Society will be holding their annual Sir John A. Macdonald dinner with Kingston's Mr. Justice Thomas Cromwell of the Supreme Court of Canada. On Bicentennial Day, Mayor Patterson, who we have in the gallery here, will address the citizens of Kingston at City Hall for the city's official Sir John A. Macdonald Bicentennial Bash. Everyone is welcome. I encourage all members and their families to join us on that momentous day. And I must take this opportunity to thank Arthur Milnes, Sir John A. Macdonald's Bicentennial Ambassador, Mayor Patterson, your official staff, and the small array of the Army who are putting their heart and soul into making these celebrations a success. Please visit the City of Kingston's website for further details on our Macdonald Bicentennial plans for January and throughout 2015. In closing, Mr. Speaker, I want to reflect on one of Macdonald's life and career that we have made a special point of highlighting in our bicentennial celebrations. Sir John A. Macdonald, as we all are, unless we are of First Nations descent, was an immigrant to our shores. He went on to found and lead what has now become a respected G7 country. A country was built around a collaboration of diverse cultures and viewpoints. The story story of Sir John A. Macdonald demonstrates that in Kingston and Ontario and across our beloved country, from sea to sea to sea, anything is possible. That is the greatest part of the legacy of a great man that we pay tribute to today. Happy 200th birthday, Sir John A. Macdonald. Thank you. Merci. Miigwech.